So, our last session a couple weeks ago, you guys all met up in the back of a royal prison cart. You're all taken prisoner, and you guys got to know each other a little bit, how strange some of the people were. A lot of stuff happened. You're on the road, a lot of conversation, and eventually you were attacked. You were attacked by people that you didn't necessarily know who they were then, but now you have an idea that we're a group of rebel villagers with some other mercenaries mixed in with that group, and they attacked the caravan that you guys were a part of, leading to a lot of destruction, a lot of death, and eventually your guys' unconsciousness at the hands of an explosive device. When you guys later awoke, you were inside of a strange house that you guys did not recognize, in a place that you were not sure where you were. When you awoke, all of your belongings had been taken or were missing. You guys were in these kind of makeshift hospital beds in this side room, a nice little warm stone room with a large window looking out into the city streets, obviously seeing as this is somewhat medieval times, your window was not the most well-crafted in the world and was a little bit blurry. You couldn't see much, but you could make the shapes of shadows and different things passing by the window, so you got an idea that you were at least looking out onto a street from there. And eventually, you guys kind of gathered yourselves and made your way into the other room to meet Professor Adela Rosemond, a tiefling woman who, judging by her the appearance of her home, was a practitioner of alchemy, among other sorts of things. She had nursed you all back to health, and made sure that you were all okay. She had your belongings stored safely away. You gathered your belongings and all sorts of other things and had a pretty lengthy discussion with Professor Adela. And after a time, you learned a little bit about, how you guys got there. It was thanks to Robin, a character that Gustav and Cinder had met on their own travels before they had met Eric and Philia. And she made sure that you guys were well taken care of and all sorts of things like that. Eventually, the professor fed you guys, and then you later found out about some issues she was having with the Church of the New Dawn, a church that is worshippers of Sudar, the Shining One, the god of sunlight, and their mission is to cleanse the world of evils and unjustness, and they want to clear the abyss and things like that, as the professor told you guys. And they're not super keen on her, seeing as she studies in strange artifacts and alchemy and things that could be considered not the purest of studies, according to the church. And she told you they had come into her home at some point and essentially ransacked it, seeing as they have pretty high authority within the city of Farhelm, which is where you discovered you all were. A somewhat larger city at this point, booming, lots of people, lots of trade, lots of passers through to other areas, seeing as this is kind of a checkpoint city, which has really been growing in size. And essentially, you learn that they ransacked her home and had taken some of her belongings. And in those belongings was a certain artifact that she mentioned to you guys, that is now in the hands of a store owner in the city of Farhelm. who is named Clap. And he runs the Fortunes in Time artifact store in the city. And they had given him this artifact to kind of study it and decipher it and see what information he could find out. And a favor in return for a favor, Adela had asked that if you guys could look into possibly getting this artifact back before they discover what exactly it is, because the church may not be happy about it. And she gave you guys a little bit of gold, and you agreed to help her out, and you were let loose into the city. Philia was wearing her new disguise that she had put together herself after Cinder had done a terrible job, and yeah, you guys make your way out of Adela's house into the foggy streets of Farhelm. What would you guys like to do?
Is there any music? Because I don't hear any.
I have not started it yet, no.
Okay, just checking.
What size of a city is Farhelm again? Is it like over 100,000, or is there only like one artifact store?
There are a good amount of stores. There are only so many stores that actually have large notoriety within Farhelm. Farhelm's an interesting city because essentially it started off as a much smaller town, and through the years, as the kind of the Drakmorian kingdom has become more intertwined with their vassal kingdoms, there's been a lot more foot traffic coming into the town, a lot more people crossing the borders between areas, because now that Drakenmore owns this kind of territory. So it's a once small city that has grown quite immensely at this point. So there are some main stores that you'll see within the city, but the city also is now home to a giant market where you can find all sorts of little shops and wares and things like that. But there's not an insane amount of real estate in the city of Farhelm, seeing as it had somewhat humble beginnings. So there are some somewhat larger, well-known stores, but there are definitely multiple stores of certain types. There's a few taverns in town and things like that, but it's large but small at the same time, if that makes any sense. Large population, not the biggest city.
Okay. So it's sort of built up.
Yes, as you can see in this sort of reference photo, it's definitely a bit of a larger city in terms of height. So, as you guys walk out of the home of the professor, you see, kind of like most other places within Cairn, there's just this kind of permanent layer of fog among everything. Everything's a little bit clouded over here, and there's busy streets all around. And you guys are currently on kind of a more quiet street, so there's only like a couple passerbys every so often that you see. But in the main square that you can see off in the distance, there's just groups and groups of people. This city is busier now than it's ever been before due to all the people trying to essentially flee Cairn due to the famine and things like that. But a lot of more Gothic style, taller buildings reaching up into the sky. Most taverns that you could see or things like that would be like 3, maybe 4 stories high. Just tall, large buildings. You're kind of circled in this city, but it's a lot of homes and things like that. Real estate is expensive here.
Cool. Right then. Anyone know the city?
I don't think many of you would have been here before. I feel like the person who may possibly have the most knowledge of this city would be Cinder, just because he's been around these parts a little bit more than anyone else. But Cinder, you tell me, what kind of knowledge do you have of Faro? Any?
Probably not like central city. Probably maybe like the outskirts of stuff.
Okay. Well, if you'd like to make a knowledge geography check or something like that, maybe you could give a rough idea.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you're definitely only very familiar with the outskirts of the city. You've passed by it a few times and maybe through it once or twice, but the inner workings of the city are a bit too complicated for what you can remember.
I've not been through here too much. Only been around the outskirts, you know.
That's fair.
It's a little bit lost to me. But I'm thinking I need to go and pick up some things. Sounds like we need to be a little bit more subtle for this kind of mission. So maybe I'll go and pick up some tools of the trade, if you know what I mean.
Fair enough. Maybe we'll head to the market, get what we need, find a quiet place and sort this thing out. Work for you two. Looking to Philly and Eric.
Eric's like not really paying attention, but he's just like looking on with like his mouth wide open, like, ooh, ah.
Philia, you can see, has her robe and hood wrapped around her, and she's kind of looking down at the cobblestone streets and around her, and she almost has a look of disgust on her face, just being surrounded by this concrete and stone monstrosity. She does not look pleased.
Aye. You two still with us?
Eric's gonna look over and be like, I'm so sorry.
You do not snap at a princess.
You know, she has a point. But then he's gonna laugh.
Still not quite sure you're actually a princess, but a lot of strange stuff been happening. But if we're gonna do this, we need you two to focus, alright?
Eric's just gonna nod. You're right. So
Yeah.
how are we going to do this?
Well, as we were saying, we're gonna head to the market, pick up some stuff we might need, find a quiet place, and then sort out a plan.
Sounds good to me. Which way is the market? Eric's gonna just like look around to like see if there's any like signs or anything.
You take a look around and you can see that not directly where you are, but down the street more towards this kind of four-way intersection of the city, they do have some signposts.
Ooh, Eric's gonna be like, ooh, over there, guys. And then he's gonna like walk over.
So you make your way through the bustling streets, and as you approach this intersection, the amount of people gathered there is just somewhat overwhelming. A lot of people passing through this main street that goes up and down the city. And along the side of the street, you see little stalls and you hear the chattering of voices, just constant ambient noise as people are having their own discussions. You know, on the corner, you see someone selling fresh fruits or vegetables and another flower seller and things like that. And when you approach this sign, you can see that the city is split up into essentially quadrants now. So you have the northern quadrant, the eastern quadrant, western and southern quadrant. And
Did anyone else join him?
I don't know, that's a great question. Did you guys I mean, Philia did. Are you guys following Eric over to the sign?
Yes.
So did the quadrants tell you where the marketplace is and stuff?
Yeah, so you can see that the market district is essentially the southern district.
What are the other districts?
You have a kind of housing district, which would be the eastern district, and you have in the northern district is kind of the God, the word is escaping me. You have the I guess you could say diplomatic.
The military?
Yeah, probably essentially like the military district, where they're housing of the guards and things like that, and where all of the cities. Words. All of these cities, like public,
Courthouses and stuff?
yes, yeah. So that, I mean, essentially where you find like the city guard, courthouses, all of the kind of council chambers and things like that for the city. And then the Western District is more known for it's like the theater district. So that's where you go to find entertainment and things like that.
I'm guessing we're in the eastern one, right? The housing one?
Yes, you guys are currently in the Eastern District of the city, mostly houses and little stalls and things like that. Obviously, there's taverns within different parts of the city. There's kind of like the one exception, but most things are split up fairly evenly. Obviously, there's spillover into each district, but for the most part, that's how it is.
I think Eric's just going to be staring at the sign and then see, as soon as he figures out where he's supposed to go. Well, this is convenient.
The sign?
Yeah.
Guess it's convenient for everyone. Probably why they put it there.
Eric's just going to giggle. You're right. Alright, let's go.
Just to go over it once more, west is entertainment, east is houses, north is business?
Like
Or was
city,
north the court one?
It's like
Not
city,
necessarily.
court
North
and
is
stuff.
like council, like the city council kind of. I guess it'd just be the military district. It's where where you find most of the political buildings and things like that.
It's like the capital city of a country within a district.
There you go.
And south was the market?
Yeah, south is your kind of market district.
Cool. We head south.
Let's go.
Okay, so you guys make your way through the busy streets of Farhelm, and after probably, I don't know, a solid 20 minutes of leisurely walking through the streets, you kind of make your way into the southern district of Farhelm. As you're walking, you can see you're using this kind of main street that most people are using within Farhelm. So, I mean, there's just crowds all the way along, and you can see guards riding through on horses and carriages pulling people around and all sorts of things. Stalls just littered along the paths as you make your way down. Everyone's trying to, make a living. And eventually, you guys kind of make your way into the southern district, where not directly into the market, but you find yourselves among some more standard buildings, but every so often you can see that littered among these kind of houses, there's a signpost on the side of the building promoting either a shop or a little bed and breakfast type place or things like that.
I would like to look out for somebody that looks a little bit sketchy on the outside. Somebody that would kind of deal with these kind of thieves' tools.
So you're looking for a shop or just a person?
Either a shop or a person.
Okay. Well, you're looking for that. Is everyone just going to kind of follow Cinder around, or are you all going to make your way in separate directions to get what you guys need at this point?
I think I'm just gonna follow Cinder around for a bit until he says, until he realizes that maybe Cinder wants to, go sneak off and find his sneaky tools.
Okay.
I think we should stick together.
All right. So, I guess at this point you're all following Cinder. I don't know if he's informed you of where he's trying to go or not, but Cinder, why don't you roll me a perception check? Okay, so as you guys make your way through these kind of crowded streets in the market district, eventually you come to a signpost for an older, dingier looking shop. It's a little bit run down, and on the signpost there is a kind of dragon, faded. You could see it was once carved neatly into this wooden signpost, but it's just been so long. It's covered in a little bit of dust and decay and things like that. And underneath it says, "The Crafty Dragon." Looks like a possible place that you could find what you're looking for.
I think we might be able to get some stuff in here.
What would make you think that?
Just the look of it. I've been around these places enough.
Ah.
Oh, and there might be some troublesome folk in here, so maybe just try to keep a little bit on the down low.
Mind your
I think-
purse.
Right, that too.
Brooke's gonna put his purse inside his shirt.
Okay, so you gather all of your little coin purse and stuff it inside of your shirt, trying to hide it.
He's just gonna look over at Gustav and be like, "What do you mean by down low?"
Like subtle. Don't make a big show of it.
Yeah, I can do that. He's trying to convince himself, yeah, I can be down with it.
I'm sure you can. What about you? Look to Philly. Think you can blend in?
Are you saying that I'm not blending in already? You see this disguise? It's beautiful.
Is this the bush, or is this something else?
No. At the end of the last session, Cinder had helped Philia put together a disguise, and it's an old robe and a hood and things like that. So pretty much almost her entire body's kind of covered up, except for her face, which is relatively human looking at this point. But she has adorned her robes with her wings, making her wings look like some sort of beautiful feathered scarf.
I think Eric's gonna stare at the beautiful feather scarf and be like, "Ooh, that doesn't seem very down low."
What? What do you mean?
Well, you look like you're too rich for these kind of parts.
I am. I'm a princess.
Exactly, Philia. We don't want you to get in trouble. So he's gonna try and cover the feathery parts with more of the cloak.
She kind of frowns a little bit, but doesn't stop you.
Don't worry, Your Highness. I've got this.
Thank you, servant.
Eric's just gonna giggle.
Alright, very well. And
So you guys
head
make
in.
your way in. You make your way into the Crafty Dragon. And as you walk up the 3 steps leading to the Crafty Dragon, the floorboards kind of creak and crack as you make your way in. A little bell rings as you open the door. A little cluft of dust kind of comes pouring off the top of the door. You can see it's not very well maintained. And as you walk in, you see an older man standing behind a counter in the back of the store. He's, about average height, 5'9" or so, short, curly blonde hair, and a kind of more golden color skin. He's quite a unique looking individual, but he is quite old looking, very wrinkled skin. Unnatural that his hair would be as blonde as it is with the way that he looks in terms of age. And inside the store you see not many, just a couple shifty looking figures, bearded men, just kind of sifting through the goods. Essentially, he has a large counter in the center of the room that separates the front half of this shop from the back half. And littered along the walls, there's all sorts of goods, just about anything that you could imagine almost. It looks like he just has a large variety of just many, many different things at this point. Kind of a general store, if you might. So there's like food rations along the walls, as well as different pieces of equipment, just all sorts of bits and bobs. And you can see, like, some of it, you can see what's actually selling in his store, because some of it still has dust on it and different things like that from where it just has not been moved in ages, while other things look a little bit newer, like ropes and all sorts of different things sitting there. He looks at you all as you enter, but does not say a word. Does not crack a smile. He has a very straight face.
I'd like to have a look around to see if I can see any kind of thieves' tools that are on display.
Are you talking to your friends, or are you approaching the man that runs the store?
That was just telling you what I was doing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, feel free to take a look around. There's all sorts of things.
Do I see...
Go ahead, sir.
I was just gonna say, do I see any thieves' tools on display anywhere?
Tell you what, why don't you... Thieves' tools are somewhat unusual. Why don't you make me a, Isn't there a,
Swim check.
No, not swim. Isn't there like some underworld knowledge thing here? I guess not. That's upsetting. Very upsetting.
Local knowledge?
Sure, yeah. Why don't you roll me a local knowledge check and just see if you can, decipher what the tools may commonly be held in and things like that. A 4. You're looking around and you're having a tough time finding a complete set of thieves' tools. Obviously you're familiar with these sorts of tools, but you only find every so often like one little bit or bob from the set, but nothing that you could actually put together to make use of as a full set of thieves' tools.
Okay. I approach the counter. Ah,
You can see the man is kind of just watching you as you slowly walk over, and he doesn't say a word to you, but he sees you.
good day, sir. I'm looking to purchase some thieves' tools.
Thieves' tools, are you?
Aye.
He kind of squints, one eye smaller than the other, and looks at you up and down, moves his head around, kind of tries to lean around you and get a look to the side.
Yeah,
And,
I turn and show him my side.
Ah! What are you looking to have those for?
Well, you see, I'm quite new to the city here, and just in case I tend to get picked up by some of the, the po-po walking around, the guards. It's always handy to have an escape route, you know what I mean?
Are you trying to say that you're planning on getting into trouble?
No, well, you see, I don't always plan to get into trouble, but trouble seems to always come, if you know what I mean. I mean, it's just a precautionary thing, you know?
I see. Well, you couldn't find any out there, huh?
I mean, I had a look around and I couldn't see a full set of what I was after there.
I see. And, what exactly are you looking to pay for these tools?
Well, I mean, it depends on the quality of the items. From what I've seen out there in the shop, a lot of the things tend to be quite old, not really moving.
Are you calling my wares junk?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, for all I know, they're just there on show, just to kind of keep an eye on, well, keep it look like the business is actually operating. But, I mean, I've been to a few places similar to this where the real business goes on behind the scene.
Young man, are you accusing me of having a side business?
I am not accusing you of nothing, sir.
And you see he squints even more now, almost to the point where you can't even see his eyes anymore. I'll tell you what. I don't trust you. And I feel like you will take things from my store. So, you stand right there and you don't move a muscle until I come back.
Certainly.
And if you have 40 gold pieces, I have a thieves' kit for you, if that's what you're looking for.
40 gold? Gosh, that's a bit rich, don't you think? I was thinking more around the 30 mark.
Well, I tell you this. When it comes to you being captured or not, is 40 gold too much a price to pay?
I give him the same squint that he gave me back at him.
Eric's just gonna nod at the man and be like, damn, he's right.
Yeah, he leans in looking at you, both squinting at each other.
You got yourself a deal.
He puts out his left hand, which is quite unorthodox.
Yeah, I kind of like go to do the right hand and then shift back to the left.
Okay there. and he shakes your hand. It's strange. For an old man, he has quite a firm, strong grip.
Oh, quite a grip you got there, Blondie. Oh, sorry. Slipped out.
You had best watch yourself, Sonny.
What?
Otherwise, 40 gold will become 45, you understand?
Aye. What can I call you? What do I know you by?
Well, they call me Destrian. That's my name.
Destrian.
And what is your name?
Nice to meet you there.
Oh, yes. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you as well.
My name's Cinder.
Cinder, eh? That's, quite a blade you have on your back there.
Oh, why thank you, sir. I've spent quite a bit on this one. It's quite good for me. It's quite well balanced. I say the elves made it, no?
It does appear to be of elven make. How much would you like for it?
Oh no, sir. I don't think I could be selling this one to you, unfortunately. But I tell you what, if I do happen to get my hands on another one, then I would definitely be looking to sell it to you.
Okay, well, I can understand that. I agree. That's fair. If you ever need to sell it, you come right here, and I will buy that from you for a fair price.
Aye, good to know.
Now, you just stand right there. Don't think I can't see what's going on out here. I know you have friends in here, too. Don't try anything funny.
Alright.
And I'll get your tools.
I won't be moving.
Before, like, the man leaves to get the tool, Eric can be like, can we move?
Pardon me?
He's gonna be like, I just want to take a look around.
Well, it is a shop, after all. Look as you may.
He's just gonna, like, nod and then, like, skip around the store. Skip, but you know what I mean.
Sure. Yeah, Philia is, like, somewhat disgusted by all the dust on everything, and she kind of just follows you around, Eric, as you get all excited looking through everything.
Yeah, maybe, like, when he sees something, be like, ooh, and then he'll point to Philia, be like, look at this, like, what is this, and stuff like that. You know, like...
Just, like, disgusted by it. She
Gustav.
cowers back a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't quite have enough gold to pay the man. Do you have any I could spot or could borrow?
Well,
Eric, hear this.
yeah, I got some coin. I ain't got 40.
Well, I mean, I've got 20 already. I just need maybe another
Okay.
20.
Give you 22, just in case you need to get something else.
Atta
A
boy.
generous man.
I'd give him a little tap on the face.
Okay. Eric... That's right. He has his helmet on, so you kind of tap the side of his helmet. There's a little bit of a ting on it, but everyone gets the kind of gesture that you were making, I think. Eric, they're kind of whispering to each other in the stores. I don't think you would hear them. But Old Man Destrian makes his way into the back, and you hear some, like, clanking and banging and things like that, and it sounds like a pile of pots or pans falls over or something back there. And eventually he comes out, and underneath of his left arm he's holding this long rolled up leather hide, and approaches the counter. Still, you can see once he comes back towards the counter and gets a glimpse of you, Cinder, his one eye starts squinting again, and the other one gets, like, a little bit larger as it kind of glares at you. And he puts it down on the table and unrolls it. And unlike most things in his store, this is like a kind of pristine hide it's rolled up in. It's very clean and cleanly, and the tools are in there, and they're all, well kept and pretty well put together. And he unrolls it, and it's like a modern day like mechanic kit or something. Like, he unrolls it and all of the tools are in there, just slotted into these little strips of hide attached to this larger one, and you see a full set of thieves' tools in front of you.
Yeah, my eyes kind of glimmer a little bit looking at this. I give him a little nod. Aye, that'll do, Destrin, that'll do.
It certainly will. It certainly will do. And he doesn't say a word and doesn't break eye contact with you, and just puts out his left hand, like waiting for the coin.
Yeah, I put the 40 in his palm.
Yeah, he starts sifting through it, takes one of the coins, puts it in his mouth, bites it. All right. Well, this is good coin. Is there anything else I can do for you and your friends?
I just kind of give it like a little wave, like motion to the rest of the guys, as in if they want to purchase anything else or they want to talk to him.
Eric's gonna pipe up. You wouldn't happen to have any alchemy tools, would you? Or even a belt, pouch?
Alchemy tools or a pouch? Well, there are plenty of pouches around. Are you not satisfied with what's on the shelves?
He's just gonna point to some random dusty old thing, be like, "Oh, sorry, I got distracted by this. I'll take a quick look."
All right.
Now, Destrian, it's been very good doing business with you. Don't suppose I can maybe get a little bit of information from you? Now, what exactly do you know about the Church of the New Dawn? Do you know anything about them?
Dust comes into town. Shady-looking fellow. Buying thieves' tools. And the first thing he asks an old man is about the Church of the New Dawn. Quite interesting, wouldn't you say?
Well, remember, trouble always seems to find me, and I don't ever plan to be in trouble.
Is that a fact?
Fact
and
it
where
is.
did you hear about the New Dawn?
Well, I've just heard it on the streets. I mean, I think it's some kind of religion, but I just curious as to what people are talking about. So that when I do get into conversation, I know a little bit about what I'm saying.
I see. Well, these old bones don't work like they used to. But you know what always makes me feel better?
I flick him a gold coin.
Huh. Interesting. Have you ever heard the sweet melody of two gold coins rubbing against each other?
Oh,
I'll give him a second one.
Okay. He takes the... Do you flick it at him, or do you just hold it out to him?
I'll just hold it out to him.
Okay. Yeah,
I'll try to put it in his hand.
You do try and put it in his hand. He like kind of quickly grabs it from your hand with some of your fingers too, kind of caught for a second. And you get a feel for his strong grip, and then he puts the 2 coins in between his thumb and his index and middle finger, and puts them up to his ear and rubs them together. Mmm. Lovely. Okay, well, what are you asking about again? The Church of the New Dawn.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Church of the New Dawn, kind of what you know about them, where they tend to kind of, operate in the city, I guess. Maybe some places to avoid.
Uh-huh, all right.
And then maybe, at the end of all of it, if you could maybe have any information on any of the underground kind of contacts, if maybe I should fall into some trouble, maybe there's somebody I can reach out to.
Interesting. Well, now we're getting into all sorts of information. Let's start with what you paid for first. If you'd like to avoid the Church of New Dawn, you'd best avoid the city of Farhelm altogether. But they do mostly operate out of the Northern District. They have strong ties with the city. The largest church of the New Dawn in this city is in the Northern District. It's their grand cathedral. It's quite a horrendous looking sight, if I do say so myself. If you care to avoid them, honestly, just stay out of trouble. But as soon as you get into trouble, those New Dawn, they're not far behind. They'll show up quickly, whether it be to interrogate you for a theft or anything like that. They're always looking for the impure, as they call it. They want to cleanse everyone. Also, you'd best not get sick, otherwise they try and cleanse you then too. What I can tell you about them is the Archbishop. I don't know if you've heard about him or not, but he resides within Farhelm at the moment, and he is at the Grand Cathedral.
Would that be Discardi?
Archbishop Viscardi. He's quite a bastard. He's a spiteful old man. Long white beard. Luxurious robes. Inlaid with gold and shoulder pads and all fancy. Because of him and his kind, I've had to make my wares more subtle, if you understand.
Aye.
I've been here for a long time. Since I was a young lad. Maybe, hell, I think it's even been 65 years when I opened this shop. Back when I was just a youngling at 15. And those bastards have ruined everything that I built. Now look at me.
Aye.
Look alright. 80.
What about 80?
Just saying you look alright, old man.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Sonny. But you don't get a discount for flattering me.
So the church is relatively new in Farhelm. Is that what you're saying?
Well, relatively. For me. You've been here some odd 30, 40 years now.
And they have quite some close ties to the city leaders. That's why they get away with a lot of stuff that they do.
Of course. Well, they're tied to the pontiff of Lothriel. And it's his church, after all. They have quite a great sway in these parts.
Aye. Alright, well, I suppose that's some decent information there.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Well, not at this very moment, at least for me anyway. But now that we've established this business relationship, you and I'd be thinking, if I do happen to procure some items of sale, and I come back here, you give me a good price, as I've given you a good price for your wares.
I see.
Who knows? Maybe we can turn this franchise around, as they would say.
No. I like where you're coming from, young man. I knew I couldn't trust you, and I see I've made the right decision. So, if you bring anything back here, we won't discuss where it came from, or how you obtained it, but I may be able to give you a fair price. If you understand my meaning.
Aye. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. I'll be seeing you, Destrin. Aye.
Yes, it was lovely to meet you, Cinder, and your strange friends.
Gustav.
Oh, hello, Gustav. Puts out his left hand.
I'll shake it.
Yeah, you have your armor on, but even through your armor, you can feel it's like a boa constrictor clamping down on your hand. Why don't you roll me a perception check there, Gustav?
You see nothing.
Yeah. Really, you're too distracted when you shake his hand to really notice anything out of the ordinary.
You have no
Besides his firm grip. And
Can I do a perception check to see if there's any alchemy tools that I can find around?
Sure. Yeah, roll me a full-on perception check.
Oh, look at that. My character sheet has frozen.
Hooray.
Let me open mobile roll 20.
Eric, the frozen one.
Let me just roll 20.
This is sad.
Channel Right. Hey, I'm heading out now. It was nice to meet
Ew,
you all.
disgusting.
Bye.
Certain I'll talk to you in our near future. XOXO, love you, hugs and
Pathetic
kisses.
fool.
See ya.
Channel
Bye,
Right.
Ray.
Bye.
Farewell. It was nice to listen to you guys. I love you, Satan. Wow.
Disgusting.
There.
Be gone, thought.
Seems nice.
Yeah. She seems pretty cool. Did you get your shit figured out then?
Yeah, the character sheet's just
just log out and log back in.
Oh, I minimized the tab and she's gone. Why? This is an outrage.
Okay, I guess I'll just have to make your roll for you, you sad sack of shit.
What can I say?
You're gonna have to get this shit figured out.
This is the only laptop I have.
You rolled a 9.
I found nothing.
Okay, what are you looking for exactly? Are you looking for like an alchemist's like kit?
Maybe, yeah, like an alchemist kit or like, I don't know, a pouch full of like herbs or something, or like tool vest.
Okay.
Do I notice Eric looking around?
Probably, because I mean, at this point, what's happening is Destrian has just shaken Gustav's hand and kind of leans around you to look at Philia and Eric, who are kind of like bumbling through stuff.
Okay.
So you probably turn and look with him just to see what's going on.
Yeah, I wave goodbye to Destrian as Gustav and him are shaking hands, and I go and just kind of grab Eric and just kind of like nudge him like out the door. Come on, let's go.
Hey, I wasn't done looking.
Oh, you trying to buy something? You have money? You don't have to go so quickly.
Eric's gonna look back at the old man and then he's gonna look over at Cinder and be like, yeah, we should buy stuff. Not that I know what I'm looking for at this point.
We're on a bit of a tight schedule, I'm sorry. Destrian will be back, don't worry.
All right then, you come back anytime.
It's a
Eric
pleasure
will wave
doing business
happily.
with you.
The pleasure was all of yours.
Quite clearly, down to me last gold piece.
Lovely. I'm glad.
And continue to pull Eric out the door.
All right. Are you resisting Eric, or are you just gonna let?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So like, Eric starts getting pushed out the door, and Philia didn't really want to be there in the first place, so she kind of like speedily waddles out behind you guys as you're pushed out into the street. Eric, back into the loud noises of the street, carriages and horses walking up and down, and the chitter chattering of people.
And then, so while we wait for Gustav, so just a little bit of advice for you if you're looking to purchase things that are, alchemical, that sort of thing, things that are readily available. This place here is not the place to do that.
Why not?
Well, it's likely that anything that he has available with those sort of things are shoddy and run down, not really working all too well, or even still, and most likely, quite overpriced. You'd be much better.
What do you buy from him then?
Well, things that the market out here most likely won't sell at all, or even if they do sell, probably turn me over to the authorities just for asking about it. So, hence why it was so costly for me. Don't worry, Gustav, I promise I'll pay you back. And starting right now, give him his 1 gold back.
I think Eric's just gonna look at him and be like, but you heard Adela. Nobody likes alchemy.
Oh. Is that what she was talking about, the alchemy? I thought it was only the church that didn't like that.
Yeah, but if the church's running the town, then I'm assuming no one's allowed to sell that.
I suppose that's a good point. I didn't quite think of that.
You sure he's not gonna have anything?
I mean, now that you put it that way, maybe he does have something.
Do we go back?
It's up to you guys. Would you like to go back into...
Eric, you need this thing for what we're about to do then.
I mean, I guess if it gets messy, I suppose I could find herbs, ingredients for healing stuff in more general stuff. Right?
Well, I don't know, but if you think you need something in here, we should get it.
Right, I'm inclined to agree with you.
Alright, back to that story.
Alright, so you guys have just left the crafty dragon, and you know, kind of have a little discussion outside, and then quickly make your way back in, and this time you can see Destrian's just standing there behind the counter still.
Ah, Destrian. See, I told you it would be back.
Like, wave and smile.
Well, welcome. In a long time no see.
Another potential customer for you. I'll wait over here, seeing as though I know you don't trust me and all that yet. So I just stand by the door.
Okay. Yeah, he kind of nods.
I think he's gonna like look over at Gustav and Philia and be like, Philia, you're good with plants. And Gustav, you don't seem like a fool. Let's go look for any sign of herbs or alchemical ingredients.
Right. Don't know anything about that, but I'll take a look.
Yeah, Philia just kind of gives you a nod, like, plants. Got it.
And then like Eric's gonna look around, but I already rolled perception checks though.
Well, I mean, you got dragged out of the store, but, I mean, you did notice there's like some vials and things around. It's kind of like a similar situation, not that you would know this, as to what happened to, Cinder, like, you know, there's some vials and bits and bobs around and things like that, but most of them are kind of caked in dust and not really a full set or anything. So I mean, what exactly are you looking to buy? You want an alchemy set, a portable alchemy lab or something?
Yeah, like maybe a tool belt, or like is there like an alchemy version of like caster's focus, like a belt, like a pouch that just has like a bunch of like herbs and stuff? I don't know why I keep saying herbs, like ingredients, my bad.
I mean, it's kind of assumed from your class that you just have most of that stuff already, but
Oh, I kind of wanted to like buy it in character.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really anything, but let me see what we have.
I'll definitely pick up some of those vials. Like, you might like walk over and
Well,
pick
like
one
there's
up.
different things. Like there's actual items that's like the like alchemist like lab, like a portable alchemist lab and stuff like that.
Ooh, that would be cool.
So, I mean, essentially, no one would even have to roll a check because he doesn't have a portable alchemist lab just sitting out or anything like that. Like, this is probably stuff that, like, I mean, honestly, from you looking around, you just get the sense that you might just have to talk to this man rather than try and find what you're, rather than looking through everything that you have. But
before he does that, though, he'll probably like walk up to one of the vials and stuff. Like, how many are there? Like, just a few.
There's random vials and flasks and things like that around. If you're looking for like a bandolier or something like that to put all of your stuff into, you could probably find something like that.
Okay.
Just in there, like an adventurer's sash or something like that. You could probably find something like that if that's what you're looking for.
If he sees any dusty vials and a bandolier, he'll like pick those up before he goes to talk to the guy.
Okay, so we'll say for the sake of this, you find an adventurer's sash. It's a little bit dusty, but it looks like it's in good shape, which is essentially a over-the-shoulder bandolier. And in terms of flasks, are you specifically looking for flasks or vials with anything in them, or empty flasks and vials?
Empty one.
Okay, so, I mean, empty flasks and vials, sure.
Like, he doesn't want anything like brand new and shiny. Like, he's down to just like clean it himself later. If anything, if it looks dusty, he'll probably get to pay less for it.
Okay. So you dig through all this stuff and you find some old dusty vials and flasks and things like that, and this bandolier, and you bring them up to the counter. Well, it appears you've found some interesting wares.
Your store is full of the most interesting wares. You wouldn't happen to have anything else, would you?
He kind of squints and looks over to Cinder and looks back to you.
I reckon she's gonna be like smiling at him, like the friendliest smile.
And what sort of things are we looking for here?
Oh, maybe a little alchemist lab. Ooh, what's a formula alembic? Alembic? That sounds pretty cool.
You're looking for formulae now, or what?
No, I just saw like an item that I was scrolling down.
Oh, I don't know what it is. You'd have to tell me.
It says the long short of it is you put a potion into this little device, and after 1 hour, a few drops pop out. The potion is completely usable and normal. You can drink it later. These 3 drops give you knowledge of the potion, make it easier for you to copy a known spell in your formula book.
Sure, what's it called?
Formula Alembic. Alembic.
Is it under a certain type of item, or what?
I have no idea. Let me click on it and see what it shows. It is a magically augmented alchemical device. I don't know what it's underneath. I don't know what it's underneath.
Okay.
Oh, wondrous items?
Oh, so it's like a rare item. Is it magical item?
It says aura faint divination. It says magically augmented, so it must be magic, right?
Okay. Well,
I'm gonna have to look out for one of those.
yeah, I don't think he's got anything like that. But maybe if he could, if you're interested in specifically finding something like that, you could get something along those lines. But he does hear you talk about the alchemist's lab.
And the tool belt? Sorry.
Well, you brought the tool belt to them.
Oh yeah, right.
So he kind of, he squints at you and he's like, quite a haul here. Do you even have the money to afford such a thing as all of this and alchemist slab, as you call it?
Ooh, that depends. How much does the alchemist slab cost?
Well, let me ask you an easier question. How much gold do you have on you?
I think he's gonna... I don't think I'm supposed to tell people how much gold I have on me.
Oh, I see. And who told you such a thing?
I think he's gonna think, oh, parrots.
Well, if you're looking for an alchemist slab, a portable one, it's gonna cost you a pretty penny. 90 gold pieces.
90 gold. And what about these items?
Well, let's see what we have here. Some vials and flasks assorted, a nice bandolier. 28 gold pieces.
90 plus 28. That sure is a lot of money.
It surely is, young man.
You wouldn't happen to be able to just lower the price a little bit, would you?
Oh.
I mean, it's not every day that an alchemist is gonna walk in and buy it, right? With these city rules.
Maybe. And what sort of price are you thinking? What can you afford, young man?
I'd be gracious for any offer. Anything you could do.
Okay, you roll me a diplomacy check.
Don't forget that loyalty discount.
Yeah.
Diplomacy?
It's not bad.
Yay!
Okay, he kind of squints even further and he's like,
Eric his smile just gets wider and wider. It's like, I'm nice. Love me.
You're buying both of them together?
He'll nod.
I suppose I could give you a small discount.
That would be very kind.
$100 gold pieces for everything.
He's gonna think about it. You have a deal.
A deal, eh?
He's gonna...
Good. He puts out his left hand.
While all this is going on, Cinder's just been watching Destrian and like trying to gauge if there's anything, like, now that he's not actually like the person that's dealing with him, trying to gauge if there's any kind of indication or anything that would kind of lead him to think that maybe this guy is like some authority in disguise or something, or if you...
Okay, so you want to
You're trying to find out if he's King Boomy or not.
Cinder has his doubts that this guy is actually like a fence.
I see. Where's that one skill? Sense motive. Yeah, I guess why don't you roll me a sense motive check?
God, this is gonna be horrible.
I feel like this guy is secretly the CEO that just happened to stop by when no one was around, and then he's like, all these customers show up.
10 minus 7.
Yeah,
10 minus
Cinder,
3.
you're so here's the roll me a perception check while you're studying this man as well. But as far as like sensing your motive, his motive and things like that, it's I mean, it's pretty straightforward for the most part. Like, he just seems like an old man looking to make some money and sell some goods. But you do notice while you're studying him, he has an interesting, you can see on his right hand, he has an interesting ring. It's like resting on the counter, and on his right hand he has a ring, which is somewhat odd for this man, seeing as he has no other jewelry or anything like that.
Okay.
But from where you are right now, it's hard to really get a strong idea of what the ring looks like or anything like that, but
Right. I guess I'll wait for an opening where it won't look so sus. Maybe like during the transaction or something. And then approach the counter and try to get a better look at this ring.
If Eric hands over a pouch of 100 gold pieces, I'm just gonna like jaw drop. Whoa.
Yeah, so you guys are like standing back there and you see Destrian looks at you, Eric, and is like, "Gold, please, and I'll get your wares."
Wouldn't it be fair if I could at least see the item before handing over money?
Oh. You're not as stupid as you look, young man.
Eric's just gonna laugh. Do I look that stupid?
Well, would you prefer honesty, or would you prefer for me to flatter you?
Well, flattery's not gonna get me anywhere.
Oh, great, yes, you look quite stupid then. Let me go get your things, I'll be right back.
Eric's just gonna laugh.
Yeah, and he's got a brisk, brisk pace on him, a brisk walk. He moves pretty quickly into the back and comes out of the back with this large case, essentially. It's it's made from like lightweight materials. It's a cured leather case, and it has a nice lock on the front of it and all sorts of things. And it's, what's the fucking word for when there's designs on leather? There's a very specific term for it.
Engraved? No.
It's not engraved, it's like embezzled on it or something, I think. It's like all these like intricate designs embezzled on it.
Versace, sorry.
Excuse me?
It's a Louis Vuitton case. It's got the L and everything.
Yeah, it's all like, it's a very fancy leather case, and it's kind of just like this, it's almost like a big square briefcase kind of thing, and
Ooh. My daughter look is gonna look so impressive.
It looks quite, it doesn't, for how big it is, it doesn't look too heavy. I mean, he kind of brings it out, walking pretty normally, and sets it down on the counter. You hear a large thud when it goes down on the counter. And he takes out like a small key and opens it and flips the two little hinges on it and turns it around, and as he pulls open the top, it's one of those fancy cases where it pulls up these little layered trays of vials and different things like that that come out of the top of the case, and it kind of expands as he opens it up in front of you and turns it towards you and shows it to you.
I think Eric's gonna look like so excited. His eyes are gonna do that weird anime like shiny thing.
Twinkle.
Oh, yeah. You look like a child, like in a candy store, like.
Well,
That's very impressive. As I kind of step forward at this point.
I think Eric's gonna take out the money and hand it to the man.
yeah.
But he's gonna like hold out like for the key.
He takes the key and sets it down on the counter.
Well,
Then
how'd
kind
you
of
get that
quickly-
kind of coin?
Kind of quickly snatches the gold purse out of your hand and shakes it next to his ear. Ah,
You can count it.
I just did. 100 gold pieces.
And by this point, I'm next to Eric, trying to look at the ring, trying to get a closer look.
I
Okay.
think Eric's just gonna like fan over his new alchemist set and be, you know, why do I feel like you're doing us a favor?
A favor? What do you mean?
Look at this thing, it's fantastic.
Yes, and I just sold it to you.
He's just gonna like close the lid and like carefully and like put the key in his pocket and then just hug the chest.
Yeah,
The
it's
kind old man.
quite a lovely chest. Cinder, you've approached, you're trying to get a closer look at his ring.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you've got your eyes out for this ring, and he's like using his hands to open this case and everything, and holds the gold up and all that stuff, and when you kind of examine him, you can see he has this strange ring on his right hand. It's on his index finger. And it's quite simple looking, but it's almost made out of like a blackened steel. And it's very rigid in shape. So each side of the ring is actually flat. It's almost like a hexagonal shape, but there's way more sides to it. So it's like a decahedron kind of like ring with all these. So it's like a ring around his finger, but it has all these flat surfaces.
Right.
And that's, I mean, it just kind of looks somewhat plain, but at the same time somewhat odd.
Okay. Does it look magical? Would I be able to tell that at all? Probably not.
You don't have any sort of magic abilities or anything like that, to my knowledge. So,
No.
it would be your guess as to whether or not it would be magical.
Okay.
Do you have any sort of training in Arcana or anything like that? Like, do you know anything about magic?
No, I do not.
Yeah, then I would say it's just like your guess is as good as anybody else's, unless they have something to actually detect magic or things like that.
Okay.
Can I like, what's the word? Appraise my own brand new shiny alchemist?
You want to appraise your own thing that you just bought?
Yes.
Sure. Why don't you make me an appraisal check? Okay, yeah, I mean, this is a very well put together chest. If you had to guess, its value could be anywhere from 65 to like 85, 90 gold pieces, somewhere around there. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you got a pretty fair price.
Eric's just gonna be so happy with himself. I think he's gonna look back at the old man and be like, I'm training to be a doctor. If you ever need anything, try and look for me. And he's saying that because like the man is old and stuff.
Wonderful. Well, where can I find you? I'm sure I'll keel over and die any day now.
You look pretty sturdy, old man, but just in case. By the sounds of it, you don't know when those people are going to knock on your door too.
I think that's how it is for just about everyone around here. Bastards, I have to say. Well,
Eric's just going to laugh.
is there anything else I can do for you kids?
He's going to look over at Philia and Gustav because they haven't bought anything. Be like, do you guys need anything?
No, I'm good.
Ophelia kind of shakes her head like, I will not buy such drivel trash.
Well, that's enough of that. We'll be heading out now.
She looks surprised, and you can see like Destrian's eyes kind of squint a little bit more as he leans around you guys and squints really hard at Philia.
I just kind of look back at Destrian. Kids, hey, what can you do? Run their mouth all the time.
Eric's just gonna like do that whole like spinny finger around his like temple, like cookie, like.
Oh yeah, well, these kids are all crazy these days. Bunch of animals, if you ask me. No respect for their elders anymore.
I quite agree. Every generation, it just kind of gets bad, worse and worse and worse. I know what you mean.
Yeah. Yep, and then plant-loving hippie children now too, like your friend there.
Aye.
Eric's just gonna smile. It's alright. She's our princess. We have to spoil her. And then he's gonna take Ophelia outside. Goodbye, old man.
Goodbye. Enjoy your new wares. As you walk out the door.
And we leave, I guess.
Yeah, you guys make your way out of the Crafty Dragon and back into the streets of Farhelm. And I have to use the bathroom real quick, so we'll take like a little 5-minute break.
Sounds good. Be right back.
Be right back.
I shall also return.